What's up, guys? Jay, MorninAfterKill, and I'm back here on Borderlands 2. And earlier this week, I told you guys that I was going to put out a live looting video talking about my thoughts and opinions on the Borderlands 2 Great Loot Hunt and how Gearbox handled not only the drops, but some of the community rewards as well. But I didn't get a chance to do that because I got a little bit sidetracked with some personal things that I had to take care of earlier this week. And it's a good thing that I had a few episodes of my Borderlands 1 Let's Play with Gothalion ready to go, because I might have fucked up my daily upload streak. For those of you guys that are new to my channel, I have not missed a daily upload in almost 2 motherfucking years. I'm not even lying. 2 years straight of daily uploads on my channel, and I'm actually quite proud of that. But that's not the topic of the commentary. A lot of my older subscribers will know where that came from. But what we're going to talk about today is the Borderlands 2 shift system. We're also going to talk about the Borderlands 2 loot hunt drops. And finally, we're going to talk about if I was to do the Borderlands 2 loot hunt, how would I go about doing it? So, the Borderlands 2 shift system that Gearbox runs is a voluntary service that you can sign up for. And by signing up for this, you not only get golden shift code keys from Gearbox, but you also get to take part in some of their contests. But the shift system was basically devised to go ahead and farm your game data to tell Gearbox what kind of weapons you're using, what kind of characters you're using, what areas of the map that you frequent, and what type of things that you do inside of the game, and what enemies you kill. So this is a really good system for them to data mine and see exactly what the community is doing. But a big problem with this is that Gearbox was underutilizing this system for majority of Borderlands 2 lifecycle, and only using it to not only get data from people, but they were using it to base their opinions on whether things should be buffed, on whether things should be nerfed, and also just shoving golden keys down our fucking throats. We don't want golden keys, motherfucker. They're worthless. We found this out a long motherfucking time ago. So, anyway, this shift system was starting to be utilized for the Borderlands 2 Gear Up weekend, right around the Hammerlock DLC, and this is when I had the idea, why doesn't Borderlands use this as some type of system to give us daily or weekly challenges that the community can work towards, and it'll keep the game a little bit fresh. Now, I'm not taking any type of credit for the Borderlands 2 Great Loot Hunt, because Gearbox has used this as a tool to sell themselves some motherfucking Game of the Year editions. And it's a smart system. It really is. I see why, Gearbox went and did this. And I see why they held this contest. And it's actually a really good system with keeping the community in touch with the game. But not only that, but giving us some fresh things to do. And also giving us a shot at some of the more rarer weapons in the game. So Gearbox gave us the Great Loot Hunt. And I kind of want to go by and take a look at week by week to see exactly how this loot hunt unfolded. So, in the first week, we had the Gwen's Head, we had the Hornet, we had the 3-Dog Shotgun, the Emperor, then the Frementon's Edge, and the Longbow Sniper Rifle. And then our community goal for the end of the week was the Creamer. Now, the Hornet, the Emperor, and the Longbow, 3 very good guns that also got some pretty decent buffs inside of the first week. So, if you take a look at that, it went Gwen's Head, then Hornet, 3-Dog, then Emperor, Frementon's Edge, then the Longbow. So it's kind of like shitty gun, good gun, shitty gun, good gun. And I want you guys to remember that kind of that pattern in your head, because you're going to see this pattern throughout the entire loot hunt. So our community goal at the end of the week was the Creamer. And the Creamer, everybody thought was going to get a little bit of buff, maybe put it in between the Nukem and the North Fleet. And the Creamer got nothing. It got nothing. The Creamer did not get one motherfucking buff at all. And the community was very, very down about that. So the next week came out and they gave us the Gub, then the Varuk, then they gave us the little Eevee, the Madhouse, and then on the same day the TK Baja's DLC release, they gave us TK Baja's the Wave, and then they gave us the Orphan Maker and the Octo. And the community goal at the end of the week was the Fastball, which received a game-changing buff. So that right there actually was pretty decent of the community goal. But the only other weapon throughout that week that actually received any type of love was the little Eevee. And I mean, the little Eevee was already a pretty decent pistol as it was. So, I mean, the rest of the week was pretty much a throwaway motherfucking week. So week 3, we had the Gunnerang, the Landscaper, the Hive, the Lady Fist, the Twister, the Morningstar, then the Baby Maker, and then we got shit on again with a Skull Masher that didn't even receive a motherfucking buff. It didn't even receive a motherfucking buff. God damn it. But all in all, week 3 was probably the best week for this loot hunt because the Landscaper was actually a pretty decent shotgun, and it brought that out of obscurity and showed people a shotgun that's actually pretty decent on the first 2 playthroughs and actually can do a little bit of work on Ultimate Vault Hunter mode as long as you aren't killing yourself and stepping inside the motherfucking landmines. But the Lady Fist got a buff all the way up to 800 motherfucking percent critical hit damage, which is actually one of the biggest buffs inside of this loot hunt. And then we also have the Baby Maker, which got a little bit of a buff, and the Twister, which is actually one of the harder weapons to drop in the game because you gotta farm Omnock, and he's really hard to spawn. So it was nice to see that they put the Twister inside there as a droppable weapon. Now, week 4, they actually kind of dropped the ball, then brought it back again. We had the Teeth of Terramorphous, we had the Logan's Gun, the Bunny, the Bone Shredder, the Lasco, and then the Grog Nozzle, and the Cobra. Now, let's not forget that the day the Cobra was dropping, they also deleted all of your slow hands out of your inventory if you logged in that day, which is that's quite depressing. It really is. To see on a day where Gearbox gave us a huge bone and gave us a guaranteed drop of the Cobra, they still kind of fucked over those guys that had the slow hand. So this week was kind of booty, although it's actually pretty cool to be able to get a low levels Logan gun at any level that you wanted it. So that right there isn't too bad. But the last code really didn't need to be inside of this event. It was already a pretty decent SMG, and if they were going to do anything to it, I would have liked to see them up the pellet count on there and bring it kind of like what the Double Anarchy was from Borderlands 1, because this gun is probably the closest that you could compare to the, Double Anarchy. But they also buffed the Bone Shredder, which, I mean, even though they added an extra pellet onto that, it kind of makes it like a poor man's Slagger. But we already had that with the Tattler, but you have to kill Hyperius to get the Tattler anyway, so, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we already had guns like this in the game. I would have rather see them pull out some bigger game changes than they already did. But I mean, they did throw us a bone. They gave us a droppable Grog Nozzle. They gave us the Cobra. And they also gave like the buff to the Lady Fist, the Twister. So there was some very good things that were done inside of this loot hunt. But the problem that I feel is that even though they gave us some really good weapons inside of this loot hunt and some pretty decent buffs, I feel like every other day that they were just releasing the Gunnerang, the Hive, the Varuk, or on the bonus days, a Curb Blaster and Flacker, and ask us to use those 2 of the slowest shooting weapons, and they're gonna ask us to kill 10 to 100 million motherfucking enemies without telling us what our goal was, and we're never gonna know because we didn't make it to that many enemies and we didn't get that community goal, which kind of sucked. I thought Gearbox was gonna be like, hey, you guys did good, here's the community goal anyway. And I mean, they really had a chance with this loot hunt to just knock one right the fuck out of the park and just show everybody, like, see, we're still here, motherfucker, and this is why you're still playing this game. I mean, even with the Gub could have got a pretty decent buff. And how do you buff the Gub when it's already a pretty decent gun? You could have easily made the Gub come in other flavors besides corrosive. Could you imagine a Slag Gub on Krieg? That would have been absolutely motherfucking amazing. But I know a lot of people were really disappointed with the community goals, and honestly, if I was in charge of this loot hunt, do you know how I would have handled these community goals? Week 1, you would have got Shotgun SDU. Week 2, Sniper SDU. Week 3, Bank SDU. Week 4, Inventory SDU. Bam! Right there! As a community goal, handing out SDUs that give us the ammo on 2 of the weapons that are very well lacking in ammo SDUs in this game, and also updating our bank and our inventory at the same time. I think Gearbox is headed in the right direction of this loot hunt, but I still think they're missing their finger on the pulse of the community. I think they're missing the boat. Like the Creamer, that could have got a game-changing buff, and it would have been nice to have a Creamer instead of seeing Norfleets and Nukums all over the place. The Skull Masher, easy. They could have just took the projectiles right off the card, and that gun would have been actually viable. As, you know, I quote-unquote glitched with the bee, even though the bee is supposed to be quote-unquote a sniper shield. Why would one of the stronger snipers in the game, that could be one of the strongest snipers in the game, actually be pretty shitty now because it has projectile counts on the card? And that kind of ruins the Skull Masher. It really does. And I mean, week 4, the Skyrocket. I mean, even though they gave us a Grog Nozzle and a Cobra and, you know, deleted our slow hands, but they gave us the Skyrocket, which, I mean, even though that's a DLC weapon, like, you know, you gotta pay, like, to get the collector's edition, it's like $3, and they buffed the damage to where it's, like, comparable to maybe, like, a green fucking grenade mod. You know, I could have lived without it. I think Gearbox is missing a chance to not only bring some of these weapons out from underneath, out of obscurity, and make them actually pretty damn useful. Like the Flacker. The Flacker. All they had to do was up the fire rate on that motherfucker, and it would be a beast. The Curb Blaster, instead of giving it damage, all you had to do was make the projectiles move faster. The Curb Blaster right now in OP8, by the time your bullet reaches an enemy, you're already health gated. And now you gotta switch out to a motherfucking Grog Nozzle to get your goddamn health back. And, you know, if they did up the projectiles on there and made them a little bit faster, the gun might actually be worth motherfucking using. I think Gearbox really did miss the boat. But, you know, on a whole, I gotta say, the loot hunt was fun. It kept me coming back to Borderlands 2 every day, actually having something fresh to do, looking forward to actually being rewarded for my time being played, and also, it brought me back to some of the more obscure areas of Pandora, like over by Sinkhole. I am so glad that they did Sinkhole as a kill for today, because Sinkhole just seems like an area that's completely out of the way. It's not relevant to you can go through Borderlands 2 an entire year and not know who the fuck Sinkhole is, and you're not gonna miss nothing. You're not gonna miss nothing. So, you know, as using it to, you know, promote the game of the year and show people some areas of Pandora that they might have missed, some enemies that are actually pretty interesting, and you know, some pretty shitty buffs. I think overall, Gearbox, you're gonna get a C. you're gonna get a passing grade from me. But the reason why you're getting a C is because some of these buffs were a little bit uninspired. We could have dealt without a Gunnerang. We could have dealt with some of the other weapons actually being brought up to speed, especially my motherfucking Infinities. They did not scale too well for OP8 Gearbox, and I want them to be actually motherfucking useful again in raid boss scenarios. So, my name is Jay, MorninAfterKill. Make sure you guys rate, comment, subscribe. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you could leave a thumbs up on this video, I would highly appreciate it because it gives me motivation to make more videos for you motherfuckers that watch my motherfucking videos. I gotta go out there and find a PS4 today! Gotta find a PS4! And if you want to know why, go ahead and watch the Borderlands Let's Play later on today with me and Gathalion, and you'll know why I'm actually searching for a PS4. So, like I said, my name is Jay, MorninAfterKill. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys later.